The United States of America has had numerous good, great, and amazing presidents. This video will show the top 5 best US presidents. Note that this is mostly my personal opinion, and if you want to comment about any disagreement, please be respectful about it. Barack Obama was President of the United States from 2009 to 2017. He defeated Republican John McCain by nearly 200 electoral votes in the election of 2008, becoming the first African-American president. Besides adding new regulations on fossil fuel emissions and essentially legalizing same-sex marriage, he also made plans to withdraw U.S. troops from Iraq, which was later scrapped due to the Syrian Civil War and the rise of ISIS. He won re-election against Mitt Romney in 2012. He also helped with the creation of the Iran nuclear deal. However, he is at the bottom of the list due to the invasion of Libya and, of course, the what would ultimately be ironically named Affordable Care Act, known by the media as Obamacare. While many have blamed him for its high cost, most of that was actually done by insurance companies and hospitals. John F. Kennedy, although having a short time in office, from 1961 until his assassination in 1963, helped send the U.S. to the moon and guided the nation through the Cuban Missile Crisis, probably the closest the United States and Soviet Union got to World War III. He defeated Richard Nixon by around 100 electoral votes in the election of 1960. After the crisis was resolved, a hotline was opened up between Kennedy and Khrushchev, the Soviet premier at the time, cooling relations between the two superpowers, although tensions remained. Despite his accomplishments, he was tragically shot and killed by Lee Harvey Oswald. His brother, Robert Kennedy, would be shot a few years later. Franklin Delano Roosevelt was the longest-serving U.S. president, being president from 1933 until his death in 1945. He first defeated Herbert Hoover in a landslide victory in 1932. Through his New Deal, the American economy improved. He defeated Alf Landon and Wendell Willkie in landslides once again in 1936 and 1940 respectively. While campaigning on not entering World War II, it soon became clear that was not going to happen. In late 1941, Japan attacked Pearl Harbor in Hawaii in a misguided attempt to scare the U.S. into not entering the war. The plan backfired, in which FDR said,
"Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan."
FDR declared war on Japan and later Germany. With the help of the U.S., the Axis powers were defeated. FDR would defeat Thomas E. Dewey in 1944. However, a year later, Roosevelt died at age 63. In the hotly contested election of 1860, Abraham Lincoln defeated John C. Breckinridge of the Southern Democrats, John Bell of the Constitutional Union, and Stephen A. Douglas of the Northern Democrats. His anti-slavery sentiment would ultimately lead 11 Southern slave states to secede and unify together, forming the Confederacy and beginning the American Civil War. After 4 long years, the bloodiest war in American history was over with a Union victory. Slavery was abolished, but Lincoln would not live to see the end of Reconstruction. On April 15, 1865, while in a theater, Lincoln was shot and killed by John Wilkes Booth. His successor, Andrew Johnson, would fail to live up to Lincoln's ambitions, leaving segregation to be in effect for another century. There really is no other choice. First being appointed by the Second Continental Congress as the primary commander of the Continental Army, he would lead the 13 colonies to victory. In 1783, the Treaty of Paris officially made the United States independent from Britain. While initially seeking to retire after the war, he became the first president of the United States in 1789. He ran in 1789 and 1792, essentially unopposed, establishing many of the institutions still in place today. In 1796, he chose not to run for a third term, setting a precedent of 2 terms for a president, which would ultimately become law after FDR's death. On December 17, 1799, Washington died, age 67. I will be making another video on the top 10 worst U.S. presidents, so expect that one to be out either today or tomorrow.